بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله مالك الملك مجري الفلك مسخر الرياح فالق الإصباح ديان الدين رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على البشير النذير السراج المنير صاحب السكينة المدفون بالمدينة حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين، سيما بقية الله في الأراضين وحجته على الخلائق أجمعين الحجة ابن الحسن فداه أرواح العالمين. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هل ننبئكم بالأخسرين أعمالا الذين ضل سعيهم في الحياة الدنيا وهم يحسبون أنهم يحسنون صنعا. آمنا بالله، صدق الله العلي العظيم. My lecture today is about another chapter in the life of the commander of the faithful and the master of the believers, Ali ibn Abi Talib, may God's peace and blessings be upon him. The speech revolves around the battle of Nahrawan that took place, according to the majority of historians, in the 38 years after the Prophet's migration to the holy city of Medina. According to the majority of historians, it took place in the month of Safar. So that's exactly 1 year after the Battle of Siffin. Although the Imam ruled for approximately 4 years, but during these 4 years, 3 wars were waged against him. So the Imam was preoccupied with these wars. They never gave him a chance to rule properly. And despite all these wars, he was able to establish justice. Just to give you one example of how the Imam ruled, one day his companions, they saw the Imam standing alone under the scorching sun of Kufa. And you know, the temperature in Iraq reaches 50 degrees Celsius. That would be around 120 in the Fahrenheit. So 50 degrees Celsius, and the Imam is standing alone, even though he's the emperor, he's the king, he's the ultimate ruler. People have pledged their allegiance to him. And as I mentioned in the previous night, the Imam did not allow anyone to be his bodyguard and to be part of his entourage. And even if a person came to ask him a question and walk with the Imam while the Imam is walking, he would stop, answer the question, and then leave. He wants to walk alone because he wants to be accessible, he wants to be approachable, and he wasn't like any other ruler, any other emperor in the world, wearing modest clothes, modest shoes. So they saw the Imam standing alone. They said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, you're waiting for someone? He said, no. Then he said, Alla talibu haja. There might be someone who is in need of help. I'm standing here looking for an opportunity to help. Now, the reason why it's so important and imperative to shed light on these wars that the Imam was involved in is because these 3 wars they symbolize three types of deviant approaches to the truth. So we have essentially three types of approaches when it comes to the truth. The first type is when a person sees the truth, understands the truth, and accepts the truth, but later on rejects it. And this was exemplified by the people of the camel, because they pledged their allegiance to the legitimate caliph, but then they rejected it and they rebelled against him, they revolted, and they waged a war against him. This type of deviance is fairly common. This is why in one of the supplications mentioned in the Quran, we have supplications mentioned in the Quran, there are du'as mentioned in the Quran. One of the supplications is, رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا. We ask God not to make our hearts go astray and deviate after we saw the truth, after we accepted the truth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in one verse says, كَيْفَ يَهْدِ اللَّهُ قَوْمًا كَفَرُوا بَعْدَ إِيمَانِهِمْ. How should God guide a group of people that disbelieved after they accepted Iman? After their acceptance, they rejected it. وَشَهِدُوا أَنَّ الرَّسُولَ حَقٌّ وَجَاءَهُمُ الْبَيِّنَاتِ. And they testified that the Prophet was sent by God, and they saw the evidence, they saw the proof. وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الظَّالِمِينَ. And God does not guide the oppressors. In another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بَعْدَ إِيمَانِهِمْ. Those people that disbelieve after they brought faith. ثُمَّ ازْدَادُوا كُفْرًا. And their disbelief intensified. لَن تُقْبَلَ مِنْهُمْ تَوْبَتُهُمْ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الضَّالُّونَ. These are the ones that lost the plot. And the third verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِن نَكَثُوا أَيْمَانَهُمْ مِن بَعْدِ عَهْدِهِمْ. And those people that broke their promise, their covenant, their allegiance, after they had made that vow, وَطَعَنُوا فِي دِينِكُمْ. And they attacked you, attacked your faith, your religion. فَقَاتِلُوا أَئِمَّةَ الْكُفْرِ إِنَّهُمْ لَا أَيْمَانَ لَهُمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَنْتَهُونَ. With this third verse, the Imam, during the Battle of the Camel, he said, since this verse was revealed upon the Prophet, it had no application, no implementation. It wasn't applicable during the time of the Prophet. And this verse was revealed pertaining to these people that have come to wage that war against me. So you have this first type. And we have a narration that says, if a person was a good person for the first part of his life, let's say first half, and that person becomes an evildoer, the hadith says that such a person will be held accountable for every mischief, for every sin that he has ever committed in his life after they die. But if a person wasn't a good person in the first half of his life, but then changes course and becomes a good person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of His infinite mercy, will overlook his past sins. لَمْ يُؤَاخَذْ بِمَا مَضَى مِنْ عُمْرِهِ. Because he changed courses, he chose to become a good person after being an evildoer, Allah will overlook his sins in the past. لَمْ يُؤَاخَذْ بِمَا مَضَى مِنْ عُمْرِهِ. So that's the first type. The second type was exemplified in the Battle of Siffin. Those are the people that knowingly choose to side with falsehood. So they know the truth. They know that Ali is right. Ali has done nothing wrong. And Muawiyah is buying people's loyalty. Muawiyah has no right to avenge the blood of Uthman. Uthman, his children were still alive. If they want, they can avenge his blood. So it has nothing to do with Muawiyah. But despite all of that, they know that Muawiyah resembles the pleasures of this life. If you side with Muawiyah, then you can indulge in the pleasures of this life. So they knowingly chose to go against Ali, who was the epitome of virtue, who was the personification of justice, and side with Muawiyah. And this type of deviance is fairly common as well. How? Sometimes there is a clash between your belief system, your ideals, your virtues, and this dunya. Sometimes your prosperity will be at the expense of your belief system. You believe in something, but in order for you to cling on to the pleasures of this life, you have to make concessions on the expense of your religion. Now, the majority of people, their mentality is in a way that I should use my religion as a shield to absorb the damage so that it doesn't affect my prosperity in this life. So the issue we have here is that the priorities are messed up. So for example, you have your wealth. You should use your wealth to protect your health, to protect your family. Some people use it the other way around. They have money, right? But they protect their wealth, and in order for them to accumulate money, they make compromises and concessions on the expense of their health. For example, people only sleep 3 hours in the 24-hour cycle. Why? Because they want to work to accumulate more and more money. This is detrimental to their health. They don't care because they want money. Or for example, people that are very stingy. They don't want to turn on the aircon during summer or the heater during winter, even though they have the money, but because they're so greedy and they're so stingy, they're willing to make compromises on their health in order for them to protect their wealth. Now, when it comes to religion, we should use our wealth and our health to protect our ideals, to protect our principles, to protect our faith and our religion. But sometimes we view things differently. Umar ibn Sa'd, the man who was in charge of the army that came and participated in the war against the grandson of Imam al-Hussein and shed his blood. Imam al-Hussein talked to him a lot, but he eventually recited a poem saying that يَقُولُونَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ خَالِقُ نَارٍ وَجَنَّةٍ. And they say that God created hell and paradise. We're not really sure about that, even though he knows that it's wrong. According to his religious beliefs, according to his belief system, you can't kill an innocent man, right? But if you don't believe in the hereafter, why not? Why not? Especially when you have the chance, when the government is with you, when you have the authority. And this was demonstrated many times. Many times. Even people who are supposed to be civilized, civil people, when they go into a war and they have the authority, they have the power, they shoot at civilian people. They don't care. من أمن العقوبة أساء الأدب. When you have no fear from retribution and punishment, couldn't care less. Kill innocent people, engage in heinous crimes, couldn't care less. Then he said that, when I want to make a balance between the two, they tell me that if I do good, I will be rewarded in the hereafter. But if I side with evil today and kill Hussein ibn Ali, what I will get is a quick gain of pleasures in this world. And that's what usually people opt for. Quick gains, as opposed to something that you are promised to receive after you die. So people opt for quick gains. That's fairly common. Amr ibn al-As, he consulted a man before joining Muawiyah. That man was a very wise man. He said to him, well, look, if you join Muawiyah, without a doubt, you will prosper in this life. You will indulge in all the pleasures that you seek in this life. But you will not have a chance in the hereafter. But if you choose to side with Ali ibn Abi Talib, maybe this will be at the expense of your prosperity in this world. Your movement in this world will be restricted. You won't be able to do anything and say anything and treat the people the way you want. But you will secure your life, prosperity for eternity. And then he said this to him. He said that the gains in the hereafter will compensate for your loss in this world. Imagine if it was just the time we'll be spending in the hereafter in paradise, it will make you forget about all the pains and all the hardships that you went through in this world. This is why the hadith says that a believer, a God-fearing, pious person will come on the day of judgment and will see the rewards that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared for him. And that person will say, oh God, you're giving me all these rewards. For what? What did I do? He said, this is in exchange for what you went through in this world, in the dunya, in this life. So the man will say, I wish if the hardship was even more, so I could receive more rewards. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to him that your capacity was limited. This is all you could tolerate in this world. And when you see people that go through hardships, they say, I can't take it anymore. This is too much. I've been burdened with a lot of hardships. In the hereafter, it will be different. You'll have a different perception once you see the rewards. Oh God, I wish if my hardships were more. Your capacity was limited. So he's telling Amr ibn al-As, he says that your gains in the hereafter will compensate for your loss in this life. Yes, you want it to be free in this world and do whatever you want to do. But you have to be restricted. You have to abide by certain rules and you have to be a man of principle. So this will make you lose, will make you not be able to indulge in some of the pleasures in this world. But what you will gain in the hereafter will compensate for all your loss in this life. But if you choose to side with Muawiyah, which was the epitome of vice, maybe you will indulge for a period of time in this world, but this will not compensate for your loss in the afterlife. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam wrote a letter while he was going to Karbala, which speaks volumes about his motive. He said, أما بعد فكأن الدنيا لم تكن وكأن الآخرة لم تزل. As if this life, we never existed in this world. This life was never there in the first place. As if the hereafter was there from the beginning. Because once we go to the afterlife, it will feel like this. Over there, we'll stay there for eternity. And this is something that we can't even grasp. What is eternity? We'll be staying there for good. In this world, it's just a transient world. So it's worth it to be prepared for the afterlife and to act upon our beliefs instead of indulging in the pleasures of this world as if there's nothing that will come after we die. So this is the second type of deviance, which is again fairly common. People do things as if there is no afterlife. The third type, which is probably the most dangerous type. But before I delve into the details of what happened in the battle, let me mention this story that relates to the second type. One day Yazid the son of Muawiyah. So we're talking about the son of the emir, the son of the king. He tells his father that I want to get married and settle in life. So his father was adamant to provide whatever his son needs, especially when it comes to marriage. But now that Yazid wants to get married, of all the people in the world, of all the women in the world, his eyes fell on a married woman. And according to our religious teachings, it's a grave sin, it's a kabira, like a major, super huge sin, to even make a hint to a married woman that I will marry you if you divorce your husband. Not be vocal about it, just a hint to a married woman. This is a major red line. So this guy, he wants to marry a married woman. Who is she? Her name is Uraynib bint Ishaq. She was known for her beauty, for her morals, and she lived in the holy city of Medina. So Muawiyah asks his external brain, Amr ibn al-As, he consults him, what should I do? He said, in my opinion, let's devise a plan to make her husband divorce her. So what should I do? Let's deceive him. So Muawiyah summons Abdullah ibn Salam, the husband of Uraynib, from Medina to come to Sham. He said to him, first of all, I want to appoint you as a governor in one of the provinces in the Muslim empire. And secondly, you're a good person, you're a man of integrity. I want you to marry my daughter. But she has to give her consent. Islamically, you can't marry a woman without her consent. So you need her consent. And you need to propose officially to her. Before the official proposal, he tells his daughter, Ramla, that when he comes to propose, we'll let the middleman, who is Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, to speak. And he will say that Abdullah ibn Salam is a good person, a man of integrity. The only problem that he has is that he has a wife. And you should say that I'm not happy to be with a co-wife because I might be envious and I don't think that I could do that. But if he divorces his wife, I don't mind marrying him. So this is what she does. He comes, he proposes officially. And then when Abu Hurairah says that the only issue that he has is that he has a wife, she says that, I don't mind initially, but the only problem is that his wife, he needs to divorce her. Abdullah ibn Salam, he thinks to himself that if I marry the daughter of the king, I will probably be the king, his heir to the throne. Because this is the king now. If he dies, his son-in-law becomes the king. So it's worth it. So he agrees to divorce his wife, and he divorces his wife. But then Muawiyah's daughter says that I have to make more inquiries to see if you're Mr. Right, if it's appropriate for me to marry you or not. So they're just delaying it until the iddah lapses. If a married woman divorces, she has to observe the iddah, 3 period cycles or 3 months. So after this period lapsed, Abdullah ibn Salam would come to the castle of Muawiyah every day, and he is waiting for a response, but Muawiyah keeps delaying him, telling him to wait. My daughter is thinking about it, but it's looking good. Inshallah, she'll eventually accept, but we have to wait. So he divorces his wife, and Muawiyah spreads the news that Abdullah ibn Salam divorced Uraynib. After this period lapses, Muawiyah sends Abu Hurairah to immediately go to the holy city of Medina and to propose. For whom? For his son Yazid, to marry Uraynib. So he enters the city of Medina. He meets with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. The Imam says to him, what brings you to Medina? He said, I was dispatched by Muawiyah to do what? To propose. To whom? To Uraynib, because her husband divorced her. and Yazid wants to marry her. So the Imam tells Abu Hurairah, if you go to see Uraynib to propose, mention my name as well, and tell her that Hussein ibn Ali is also interested in marrying you. So he goes to see Uraynib. He says to Uraynib that your husband divorced you because he wants to marry Muawiyah's daughter. But now, Yazid wants to marry you. And also, I saw Hussein ibn Ali, he also expressed interest in marrying you. And I also would like to propose to you. So she says to him, what do you think? He said, look, if you want to be happy in this world, then it's Yazid. He is the son of the king, and he's the heir to the throne. So most probably you'll be the princess. You'll be the wife of the king of the Muslim empire. But you won't have a chance in the afterlife because he's a corrupt person. He's a depraved person. But if you want to secure your eternal life, then it's none other than Hussein ibn Ali. He's the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he's a man of principle. But if you want neither this world or the hereafter, then it's none other than me. So she said, I'll go with Hussein. She married Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, but the Imam did not touch her. He placed her in a separate home. Abdullah ibn Salam, her previous husband, when he heard the news that his wife got married after he divorced her, and when Muawiyah rejected him, because immediately after the lapse of that period, Muawiyah said to him that you have no chance in hell to marry my daughter. So he realized that it was a plot against him to divorce his wife so that Yazid marries her and he got nothing. So he goes back to Medina. He meets with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. He says to the Imam, did you see what happened? The Imam said that I married your wife just to protect her from the evils of Yazid and his father. And I didn't even touch her. She's in a separate home. And when a person marries a woman but doesn't touch that woman, doesn't meet that woman, there is no physical interaction between the two, there is no iddah. She doesn't have to observe a period of time after she divorces. So the Imam divorces her, and she meets and she is reunited with her husband. So Abu Hurairah, just like everybody else, they all had this impression that Hussein ibn Ali means the hereafter. If you're looking for morality, if you're looking for ethics, if you're looking for God-fearing people, then it's none other than the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And we have a hadith that Imam Ali alayhi salam, he used to spend a lot of time asking God to give him good children. And then the Imam would say, Wallah, I'm not asking God to give me good-looking children, like handsome children. What I'm looking for are people, children that would be God-fearing, that would fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the third type of deviance is perhaps the most dangerous type. When you have erroneous beliefs, thinking that you're right, but you're wrong. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, should I tell you about the losers in this world and the hereafter? الَّذِينَ ضَلَّ سَعْيُهُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. These are people that lost the plot. They think that they are right when they are wrong. The perfect example for these people are these terrorists that terrorize people, that kill innocent people, women, children, men. Innocent lives are taken, thinking that they are right, thinking that if they detonate the bomb, if they use that explosive belt, then they will meet the damsels after death. They will meet the Prophet. This is the most dangerous type of deviance. And this has many, many levels. So the worst type are these terrorists. But you have people that might mistreat their wives, thinking that they are right. Mistreat their husbands, thinking that they are right, when they are wrong. mistreat their children, thinking that they are right when they are wrong, because they espouse erroneous beliefs. Erroneous beliefs. I don't usually mention dreams in my lectures, but this might open a window. We don't base our beliefs on dreams, but there was a man who passed away. He died. They saw him in a dream. He was perfectly intact. The only issue that he had was his tongue had an injury. They said to him, "What's wrong with you?" He said, "I used to belittle my wife. Her name was Sukaina. I used to call her Sakku. She used to tell me that I'm a Sayyida, I'm from the descendants of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How could you, take this degrading approach? How could you disrespect me in front of my friends, in front of everyone?" But he thought he was right. He was right. He's not doing anything wrong. He said, "This injury that I'm afflicted with will be with me until the day of resurrection, until doomsday." So sometimes we do things thinking that we are right when we are wrong. That's why we always need to be critical of our actions, critical of ourselves. You know who's your sworn enemy? Your sworn enemy is your own self. أعداؤك نفسك التي بين جنبيك. That's why you have to be very critical of yourself. Always question your motives. Always question your intention, whatever that you want to do. And think about the consequences, and think about what you did later on. I mentioned this in one of the nights in the Q&A session. I said one of the things that we always need to do is before we sleep, before we go to sleep, at night, we try to recall the things that we did during the day and to see whether the things that we did was in line with our moral values, with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us. When I said this to my wife, was I right? Was it appropriate for me to say that? Sometimes we mock other people, we make fun of them, and not understand how this is impacting them and how detrimental it is. Sometimes you find people that don't participate in these programs because there's someone, a man or a woman or a child, that makes fun of me, makes fun of my children. And when they don't attend these programs, and this will result in them, in their religiosity becoming less and less, that person is responsible. We don't realize the repercussions and how impactful our actions, our sayings are. So we always need to question our motives. You have an enemy that dwells here, right inside. So this is one level. الذين يحسبون أنهم يحسنون صنعا. They think that they are right when they are absolutely wrong. The perfect example in the past is the example of the Kharijites that rised against Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. It all started in Siffin. The Imam wanted to finish the war, when all of a sudden Amr ibn al-As, he told Muawiyah that we need to come up with a plan to deceive these people. So they raised the Quran, 500 soldiers. They placed the Quran on long spears, saying, "Let the Quran judge between us." Imam Ali alayhi salam said, "I know these people. I've known them since they were kids. فَكَانُوا شَرَّ صِغَارٍ وَشَرَّ كِبَارٍ. They were evildoers when they were kids, and they are evildoers now that they are grown up, adults. I know them. They have nothing to do with the Quran. They don't believe in the Quran. I was the first one to respond to the call of the Quran. I was the first one to implement the teachings of the Quran. But you had 20,000 people from his army that came to the Imam and said, you should stop this war because we have to let the Quran judge between us." The Imam said, "Muawiyah doesn't even believe in the Quran. You should stop the war. You should stop the war, or we'll hand you over to Muawiyah, or raise the sword against you." His own army, 20,000 people. So the Imam said, "Then I have no opinion if you're adamant on stopping the war." They said, "You should ask Malik al-Ashtar, who's fighting, who's in the battlefield, you should ask him to stop, or we're gonna fight against you. So the Imam sent someone to Malik al-Ashtar to come back to the camp. When that guy goes, the messenger goes to Malik al-Ashtar. Malik al-Ashtar says, I'm only meters away from the tent of Muawiyah. I will defeat Muawiyah. The Imam said, you have to come back. So he came back. And then they entered into negotiation on selecting someone to negotiate with Muawiyah. When this happened, the two armies scattered. The Imam went back to the holy city of Kufa. He went there, and maybe less than a year later, the Imam was getting ready to fight Muawiyah again, when he was informed that a group of people have defected from his army, and they are killing innocent people. The Imam was in a place called Nukhayla. So a group of people, 4,000, 5,000, more or less, we have different opinions when it comes to their number. They pledged their allegiance to a man called Abdullah ibn Wahab, who was in the city of Kufa. They decided to break ranks and to go to Madain, conquer Madain, kick out the people of Madain, and then ask people to join them. But a man told him that you'll face resistance in Madain, so the best thing is to go near the bridge in a place called Nahrawan, in a place between Baghdad and Hawla, these two cities, near the river, Tigris River. So they decide to go there, but they said, we can't go together because people will know that we're defecting. So the best thing is to go in small groups. They stayed in the city of Kufa on Thursday and on Friday, spending their time praying, worshipping, and reciting the Quran. But they had shallow understanding of religion. Their understanding of religion was not deep. Sometimes people think it's all about praying and fasting and, going to Hajj. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Religion has to be deeply rooted. For example, a hadith says that if you had the chance, you saw 1 dirham, $1, that you could use, you can take, but from illegitimate means. When it's not yours, you're stealing that dollar. But if you refrain from doing so, this is better in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than performing Hajj 1,000 times. كان خيرا عند الله من ألف حجة. When you pray, prayer should help you refrain from sin, to make you, treat your parents with kindness. But if you pray and sin, that means this medication that you're taking is not useful. That medication that you're taking is not helping you. That's why when he comes to the Imam and he says to him that, how should I know if my prayer is accepted? He said, well, if after you pray you still commit sin, that means your prayer is not accepted, because the Quran says, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ. Salah should forbid evil and enjoin good. That's what salat is. These people used to recite the Quran. You had marks on their forehead. They used to pray a lot, spend the entire night praying, but they have no understanding of the Quran. What they did, they chose to go to Nahrawan. On their way to Nahrawan, they meet a man called Abdullah ibn al-Khubab ibn al-Arat. His father was a companion of Rasulullah. When they meet with him, they say to him, are you Abdullah, the son of the companion of Rasulullah? He said, yes, thinking that this will give him impunity. They say to him, do you remember a hadith that your father reported from the Prophet? He said, yes, the Prophet said that there will be a fitna, a discord in the ummah. A person who is sitting is better than a person who is standing in this fitna. A person who is standing is better than the person who is walking, like actively participating in the fitna. They said to him, what do you think of Ali? Before and after the negotiations, the tahkim. He said, Ali has more knowledge than all of you. He's the carrier of the knowledge of Rasulullah. And he has more insight. He's got basira. And Ali was with the Prophet all along. He never betrayed the Prophet in every war. And the Prophet died while his head was in the lap of Ali ibn Abi Talib. They said to him, you say this in front of all of us? By God, we will kill you in a way that history has never witnessed. So they handcuff him and they drag him on the floor. They take him to the river and they slit his throat, letting the blood gush out in the river. Before, we used to read these things that used to happen in history until we saw it. We saw it. What happened in Spiker? They slit the throats of 1,100 people by the river. They had guns, but they chose to slit their throats, saying Allahu Akbar, saying that this is how they please God. الَّذِينَ ضَلَّ سَعْيُهُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. These are the worst, these are the scums of the earth. They killed him. His wife was pregnant, 9 months pregnant. She was on the back of the horse. They take her, they rip her stomach open, kill the fetus, and then kill his wife as well. And then they kill 3 other women in the village. Amir al-Mu'mineen was in a place called Nukhayla, in a base called Nukhayla. When he receives the news, he gets up. Amir al-Mu'mineen cannot tolerate something like this happening under his authority and his reign. So he says to the people, we want to fight Muawiyah when we have these people, these filthy animals who are living with us in the same city. So he tells the people that we need to go and fight these people. Their number, when they reached Nahrawan, was 12,000. The army of Amir al-Mu'mineen was 67,000. But the Imam wouldn't start the war. The Imam gave a speech and he encouraged them to defect. What are you doing? If it's about the Prophet, then I am the companion. I am the right-hand man of the Prophet. If it's about the Quran, I am the carrier of the knowledge of the Quran. So from 12,000, only 2,300 people remained with Abdullah ibn Wahab. They all left. But the Imam wouldn't start the war. He wouldn't engage straight away. You see, there is a pattern here. In all his wars, he wouldn't start the war. And the Imam tried so much to contain these vile animals. They tried so many times to provoke the Imam, insult the Imam in front of everyone while he's the ruler. But he was tolerant. He wouldn't react at all. And he would say, لَأُسَالِمَنَّكُمْ مَا سَلُمَتْ أُمُورُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. I wouldn't do anything to you so long that the Muslims, the other people, innocent people, are safe. Even if you insult me, even if you do harm to me on a personal level, I wouldn't react. So he tried so much to contain them, but unfortunately, this is what happened. Then one of them gets up and he charges at the enemy at the army of the Imam. He charges at them, killing 3 soldiers. The Imam got up again. He gave a speech saying that by God, the Prophet had told me about this incident, about this war. And only 9 people from the opposing army will survive, while only 9 people from my army will be killed. One of the soldiers in the Imam's army, he said, when I came to the forefront, to the front lines, and I looked at their faces, I was super confused. These are the same people that recite the Quran in the mosque. These are the same people that teach our children Quran. How can I fight against these people? He said that I participated in the Battle of Camel. I participated in the Battle of Siffin, and I was never confused. But in this war, I'm super confused. I don't know what to do. I'm not certain about what I'm doing. So he said, I chose to think twice because I don't believe in this war. So he said, I took a bottle, went to the river, filled the bottle to pretend as if I wanted, relieve myself so that people wouldn't think that I'm scared and I'm leaving the battle. I went to the woods. Over there, I sat down thinking to myself, what am I doing? These people are reciting the Quran. These people are the reciters of the Quran and the ones that spend the night in worshiping God. We brothers and sisters, sometimes we are in the same position when we are confused. What should I do? The first thing that you should do is ask God with sincerity to guide you. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. If a person is sincere in his intention and not, taking into account other stuff like indulging in the pleasures of this world, Allah will guide that person. Even if he is brought up in an environment that is contaminated, if you're sincere about your intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide you. So he said, God, guide me. And then Imam Ali alayhi salam comes. He said, do you have water? I want to take wudu. So the Imam started to take wudu. When one of the soldiers came and he said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, they crossed the bridge. The Imam with utmost confidence said they did not cross the bridge. That guy had come from the front lines and he was an eyewitness. He said they did not cross the bridge. Then another man came, said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, I saw them, they crossed the bridge. The Imam didn't even look at the man. He said, by God, they did not cross the bridge. Because the Prophet had made that prophecy. He told me, Ha huna mihraqu dima'ihim. Their blood will be shed by the bridge, by the river. They will not cross the bridge. So he said that this is a sign. I will go and see for myself. If they had crossed the bridge, then Ali ibn Abi Talib is a liar, and I will be the first person to strike him with my spear and kill him. So I go to the front lines, to the battlefield, and I see them standing by the river, by the bridge. They didn't cross the bridge. And then, alhamdulillah, I thought that this is a sign from God, when all of a sudden someone places his hands on my neck, on my back. I look at him, he's Ali ibn Abi Talib. The Imam says to him, that was it enough? Wasn't that a sign? Even though I said it to myself, but he told me about it. So I was super confident that this war is against falsehood, even though these people claim to be representative of religion and seem to look super religious with long beards, with marks on their foreheads, and recite the Quran and holding the Quran together. They don't even know what the Quran is trying to say. With religion, you have to take religion in its entirety. You have to have a comprehensive view of religion, and not just a superficial view of religion. So this guy kills 3 soldiers from the army of the Imam, and then he says, where's Ali ibn Abi Talib? Ali ibn Abi Talib goes. Ali ibn Abi Talib strikes him with a sword and he kills him. Then another man comes, he kills one of the soldiers from the army of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen then kills him. Then Abdullah ibn Wahab, their leader, he comes out and he says what Amir al-Mu'mineen said in the Battle of Siffin. He said, Ya Ali, these people are fighting for us, because of us. Let's fight against each other, me against you. Whoever wins that battle. The Imam smiled. Then he said, Ma aqalla haya'ah. What a shameless person. This guy knows that the sword is my friend and that the spear is my companion. So the Imam goes with little effort, jumps, and he deals a blow to his head and kills him on the spot. So Nahrawan was all about Ali. Then they engage in an all-out war. Only 9 people from the soldiers of Amir al-Mu'mineen are killed, and only 9 people from the opponents they survive. Aisha, several years later, she saw someone who had witnessed that battle. She said to him, could you tell me where Mukhdaj died? Mukhdaj was a person that the Prophet had prophesied about, a man that had certain deformities in his body with specific descriptions. So he said, yes, he was killed in the battle of Nahrawan. Ali killed him. She said, are you sure Ali killed him? Because Amr ibn al-As is telling me that he killed him near the Nile River in Egypt. I said, no, Ali killed him. We all witnessed that battle. She said, could you bring me people that could testify? I said, yes. He brought 70 people that testified. Mudkhij died in the battle of Nahrawan. When he was killed after the battle, the Imam said, I am looking for another sign from the Prophet. He said, Mudkhij is killed in that battle. Could you look for Mudkhij, a person with these deformities? They looked through the bodies, they couldn't find anyone with these descriptions. The Imam said, Wallahi ma kadhibtu wala kudhibt. I don't lie, and I could never be proven wrong. The Prophet told me. So they look through the bodies until one man comes and he says, Allahu Akbar. Look, he's in the mud with the same descriptions that the Prophet described. He was amongst the slain. So Abu Sa'id al-Khidri, a famous companion of the Prophet, comes. Amir al-Mu'mineen says to him, didn't you hear the Prophet say that Mudkhij will be killed in a battle? If he is killed, that means the killer of Mudkhij is the best person in the world. And these people, the enemies of Ali, are the scum of the earth. He said, by God, I heard the Prophet say that. And then he said it 3 times. Wallah, I heard the Prophet say that. Wallah, I heard the Prophet say that. Wallah, I heard the Prophet say that. Aisha said, even if there was beef between me and Ali ibn Abi Talib, but I have to say that I heard the Prophet say that a battle will happen in the future between 2 groups of people. The killer of Mudkhij will be the best person that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, khiyaru khalqillah, that God ever created, while his enemies will be the worst people in the world. Then Aisha said, I wish if it wasn't Ali, but it was Ali ibn Abi Talib. Now, when I read about how Amir al-Mu'mineen was informed of the killing of Abdullah ibn Khabbab ibn al-Arat and his wife, I thought to myself, Ali ibn Abi Talib knows exactly what happened to the wife, because he went through a similar experience when his wife was attacked, when her fetus was killed, when his wife Fatimah al-Zahra, the daughter of Rasulullah, was eventually killed. إن حديث الباب ذو شجوني بما جنت به يد الخؤون ولا تسلني خبر المسمار سل صدرها خزانة الأسرار ومن سواد متنها اسود الفضاء يا ساعد الله الإمام المرتضى وبابها باب نبي الرحمة بل باب أبواب نجاة الأمة ما كسبوا بالنار غير العاري ومن ورائه عذاب النار إذ رضت تلك الأضلع الزكية رزية ما مثلها رزية الباب والجدار والبزمار الباب والجدار والدماء شهود حق ما بها خفاء لقد جنى الجاني على جنينها فارتجت السماء من أنينها آمر على عبد ضربني ومن ضربته للقاع عذبني ومن الناس ما واحد حشمني لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. Let's recite dua al-faraj together with a loud voice. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma